This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
How in the world could he shoot if he had a T-shirt in one hand and a phone in the other?
Exclusive video obtained by RTV6 showing moments leading up to a deadly encounter, leaving a mother with even more questions about the killing of her son at the hands of police. And that surveillance video that Call 6 investigates, obtained from May 6, doesn't show everything, but lawyers for the mother of Dre'Shawn Reed say it supports their claim that Reed did not fire his gun at police. Now, investigators say IMPD attempted to stop a foot chase with a taser, which did not get the job done. Police claim Reed fired at officers twice before he was killed. Call 6 Chief Investigator Rafael Sanchez can explain exactly what this new video could mean to the case. Rafael.
Amanda, good evening to you. This exclusive video, about 24 seconds long, is another piece of the puzzle involving this fatal police shooting, which led to days of protests and to the filing of a federal lawsuit. Dre'Shawn Reed ended a police chase when he stopped in this lot behind the Ace Lock and Key building near 62nd Street and Michigan Road. He had been streaming on Facebook Live, and it continued as he ran from the vehicle. The surveillance camera shows his left hand with a T-shirt, his right hand with two cell phones, and you can see that from his Facebook Live feed. Officer DeJure Mercer, whose face we're not showing until Metro releases his department picture, was running behind the 21-year-old.
There was no way he could have turned around and taken two shots at the police officer. Even when you look at the video that's out there in public, they were not too far from each other. He's a trained soldier. If he had shot him, he would have gotten him.
Reed served in the Air Force from February through November 2017. The military says due to privacy rules, it can't discuss the length of his service. The Lawrence Central graduate returned home from Texas. On January 28, 2019, he was the victim of a robbery. As you can see, the injuries were significant.
That day changed my son to the point where he didn't sleep a whole lot. He got to the point where he felt like he had to look over his shoulder constantly. That's when he changed his name to Sean. He said Dre'Shawn died because Dre'Shawn didn't see that someone hated him. He said that day he tried to get away too. He tried to get away, and he couldn't get away. From somebody that wanted to take money from him.
Dre'Shawn was known as Sean on Facebook Live. His social media watchers watched on May the 6th as he led police on a chase for several miles. Reed mentioned he did not want to go to jail because he faced an outstanding warrant connected to a traffic stop in Indianapolis dating back to September. The surveillance video does not show Officer Mercer tasing Reed or the exchange of gunfire reported by Metro Police, which led to Dre'Shawn's death.
We know he was murdered. What we're trying to find out was that a justified murder or unjustified murder. And there's nothing that I've seen that would tell me that the police had a right to take his life.
How in the world could he shoot if he had a T-shirt in one hand and a phone in the other?
Tonight, Dre'Shawn's mother tells me that she has spoken with the special prosecutor. That conversation is private, but moving forward, what are her thoughts on the ongoing process? You'll hear from her tonight on the news at 11. And of course, Amanda, key to the investigation, did Dre'Shawn shoot at police? Was the shooting justified? And who owned the gun that police found by the young man's body? Amanda?
And Rafael, what's the status of the investigation and how much access have Reed's attorneys to the evidence?
I can tell you that the investigation is ongoing. Of course, state police are handling that investigation. The legal team for the family is somewhat concerned, somewhat frustrated, because much of the information at times that they're getting and they're hearing from the press. For example, the naming of the special prosecutor, they heard from the press. The release of the police officers a couple of days ago, they heard from the press. And that is why they want the U.S. Department of Justice to send in the FBI to Indianapolis to investigate this case.
Okay, Rafael, thank you. And complete details on this Call 6 Investigate story can be found on the IndyChannel.com and the RTV6 app.
We have zero sense of having any ability whatsoever to communicate and to deal with any anger issues other than taking a weapon out and pulling the trigger.
That is a frustrated Major Harold S. Turner from IMPD. Last night, the city saw several shootings with 2 killed and at least 5 others injured. 3 of those were hit by gunfire that broke out at a party on the northwest side. And this afternoon, 2 people were shot on the east side, one of them dying. We track these cases, and RTV6's data shows it's been a more violent year than usual. And help like this from the community may be exactly what this city needs. A local grassroots organization is starting its youth summer employment program this week, giving local kids a way to make money while keeping them out of trouble. RTV6's Nicole Griffin is finding their hard work will also help fill another big need.
Here at ML and Trip Mentoring Outreach Center, they just started their youth employment initiative, and the first focus is on beautifying the grounds here at the center on North Sherman Drive. From there, they're heading out into the community and will eventually create a community garden to help feed local families.
Trying to get the kids to believe in building some on their own.
If you're finished with that, then those pointy shovels.
Work is underway outside of ML and Trip Mentoring Outreach Center as these kids spend their summer days improving themselves and their community.
Kids who need our help and kids who are just wanting to help to prevent them from going to the streets or making bad decisions.
Fletcher Triplett and his wife LaShawna have a passion for mentoring and empowering kids that face a variety of challenges, from trouble in school to mental health issues.
I was a bad kid at school. I used to have F's, a whole lot of F's. Now I got like A, B's, and then I had 1 C. That was my lowest grade.
Fletcher has been mentoring Charles Forrest for 6 years. During that time, Charles says he's learned coping skills like how to calm down and relax. And this summer, he's learning even more.
Work hard, get paid. People see you doing stuff, they gonna like it. They may say, here you go, we need you to work for us.
Teaching them to be trustworthy, respectful, independent people, to the point where I know once you're outside of these walls that you're doing what's right. Even when it's to the point where you're involved with the police, being respectful to avoid any altercation or anything that's going on out there, losing your life.
Throughout the summer, the youth will earn a bi-weekly stipend by not only managing the garden at the center, but also going out into the community and cleaning up the local neighborhood. Working for you, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
Thanks, Nicole. And the Youth Summer Employment Program and ML and Trip Mentoring also teaches the kids skills like how to manage their money and eventually run their own business. The weekly stipends come from grant money from the Central Indiana Community Foundation. Juneteenth, it's not just history, it's not just an anniversary, it's the past, present, and future. All tied together, moments in time that define the Black experience in America. And this Friday, June 19th, marks 155 years since a federal order was read in Galveston, Texas, saying all enslaved people in Texas were free. Our own Troy Washington has incredible ties to all of this. She takes us along the journey of Juneteenth.
My grandfather always tells me Juneteenth is not just a day, it's a part of who I am. After all, I was born just a stroll away from where Major General Gordon Granger stood out on a balcony in Galveston, Texas, to tell the slaves they were free.
To the balcony and read that as of this moment, the slaves of Texas would be free, and they would have the same accordance as their master. If they were to be worked, they were to be hired out, and they would be paid a fair wage.
Let's do the math. That announcement came in 1865, but really Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation 2.5 years before. That means the slaves were free but didn't know because the news took that long to reach them.
Freedom to them was much more than it is to us now. What freedom was to them is because back before this happened, the only thing that our ancestors had to look forward to was the sizzling heat, the rawhide whip of the overseers.
I admit I grew up competing in Juneteenth pageants and going to the park every year to celebrate, but even I couldn't fathom the weight the day held for those kept in captivity for more than 200 years in America. June 19th became Juneteenth, the day Black people celebrate finally being free at last from bondage.
Back in the days, there were ball games, rodeos, field barbecue. Everybody just had plenty for everybody. You know, it wasn't a thing. Nobody was selling nothing.
Originally, everything was free on Juneteenth. Over the years, that's evolved, but the message hasn't changed. Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
And although Juneteenth started in Texas, it is now celebrated throughout the nation as a day of enrichment and enlightenment, but it is also a day to show respect for all cultures. Now to the latest numbers on COVID-19 in Indiana. Today, the Indiana State Department of Health has 24 new reported coronavirus deaths. So far, 2,289 Hoosiers have died from the virus. The state also confirms 264 new cases of COVID-19. That's actually down from the last couple of days, so we're not seeing a spike here in Indiana yet. Since the pandemic began, 41,013 people in Indiana have been diagnosed with the virus. More than 371,000 Hoosiers have been tested. 11% of them tested positive for COVID-19. And you could go in for a penny or go in for a pound. Either way, this week there's a way for you to help families in Indiana who may not have expected to struggle to put food on the table. WRTV is teaming up with Kroger and Second Helpings, and hopefully you to make a difference. RTV6's own Mark Mullins joins us live from One Central Indiana Kroger to show us how it's going. Hey, Mark, how's it going over there?
Hey, Amanda, I'm downtown on the Kroger location on Michigan Street, and this is one of many Kroger locations that is allowing customers to come in and round up their grocery bill or make a donation of their choice. In fact, they've even got signs posted at the registers like this, reminding you to do so when you check out. And already between yesterday and today, donations have doubled as word spreads about this collaboration between WRTV, Second Helpings, and Kroger. The need for food assistance in our communities has always been there, but with the coronavirus pandemic and the economic fallout from it, the need is even greater these days. Kroger says it is allowing people to help in the easiest way possible. Second Helpings, which is already an expert at fighting hunger, is making sure the money donated goes even further to feed families. Kroger management says loose change or even paper money or even a swipe of a card can go a long way to providing food boxes and other essentials for needy families.
And a $5 donation will buy the equivalent of a grab-and-go box that feeds a family of 4 a full meal. So $5, that's easy, and it makes a huge impact. The associates know that. Customers have said that too. They are coming in because they're seeing the WRTV messages. They want to be part of this campaign. And there was one person who came in, wanted to make an even bigger donation than he could make at the cash register, so he contacted Second Helping separately. People get the message, they understand the extreme demand this year, and they want to be part of it.
And that is right. It is an extreme demand this year, and every little bit counts there. Again, this is day 3 of the campaign. It runs through Father's Day if you want to participate. We've got a list of participating Kroger locations set up for you on our website. Just go to the indychannel.com/feeding Hoosiers for ways that you can help out. We're live at the downtown Kroger on Michigan Street. Mark Mullins, RTV6.
Thanks, Mark. If fettuccine, lasagna, or bruschetta sound like a great dinner option, Beech Grove has the place for you. Coming up, we introduce the family that's been serving it up there over the course of 7 decades. Dave.
I'm Dave First. It's officially the summer break for the Colts veterans, but in many ways, the vacation might be short-lived. How they'll transition to training camp. Coming up in the Sports Extra Spotlight.
RTV6 app on your phone or streaming device. This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
Welcome back. Tonight we continue our We're Open Indy series with another long-standing family restaurant. This one has been serving up old world Italian classics for nearly 60 years, and they've grown quite the extended family in Beech Grove. Brad Brown takes a look.
In the heart of Beech Grove's Main Street, a taste of classic Italian is also a taste of the past. Napoli Villa has been holding up this corner since 1962. Guarino Cento immigrated to the States from Italy, opened the original restaurant in what is now the bar area.
My dad was a chef, and he just loved to create dishes. And his specialty was to walk in the dining room with a new dish and just give a sample to the customers. And I used to tell Dad, you're giving too much food. That's okay, they like it.
Antoinette and her brother John carried on the traditions of great sauce and great service.
We feel proud to be able to continue it after that he retired.
She has been such a rock of this business for such a long time and a presence in this neighborhood that they associate Napoli with my mom.
Now it's Carmelina and her brothers, a third generation of family serving families.
I think people always feel welcome, genuinely being attentive to, and they love coming here.
The menu features some of Guarino's original 60-plus-year-old recipes that have certainly stood the test of time. The pizza and lasagna have been popular from the start. There are also some new takes on familiar flavors.
If you think about all those great times in your life, it always kind of gravitates towards a meal or food, and that's kind of our focus. We've always kind of been that comfort food in the Italian food realm.
The Napoli family was able to navigate some tricky times this spring, but continued to get strong support from their neighbors.
It's almost like an extended family, our customers are. Just, they're as invested as we are in this community.
Now they're enjoying the chance to welcome those friends back to the table.
It's been a very pleasure. My parents would be very proud if they were here.
Working for you in Beech Grove, Brad Brown, RTV6.
Thank you, Brad. Let's talk about what's on the menu as far as our weather here over the next several days, 7 days in fact. Rain chances to return. We've been on this dry stretch. We'll get into almost a daily chance for showers and thunderstorms. Humidity will come with the temperatures surging into the low 90s, and our summer officially arrives as we get to Saturday, 5:54 in the evening. Swirling to the south and east, you've got clouds and showers trying to come west. Will they reach eastern Indiana? Probably not. The chance about 20%. More details on that in a second. Our rain chance on a more widespread basis increases over the weekend, especially Father's Day, and then into early next week. 84 in Indy. Monticello is at 83. Zionsville 81 degrees. These are pretty typical for this time of the year. Clouds will fade tonight. Hopefully tonight's sunset will be just half as beautiful as last night. That was spectacular. Temperature 75 at 11. Humidity will still be low. Out the door in the morning, a dry and warmer start. We'll see a mixture of clouds and sunshine in the afternoon, already late morning at 80. As I mentioned, eastern Indiana, 7 a.m., just some clouds. Our chance for a shower or thunderstorm comes from, say, Richmond down to Connorsville, Liberty, Brookville, maybe Batesville in the afternoon hours tomorrow. Still not that likely, but that's kind of the whole western edge then of that storm system to the south and east. Friday, temperature should hit 90 in many spots, right at that number in the metro area. To the south, temperatures are around 90 degrees as well. We go up and over as we get to Saturday. 92 for the high temperature. Chance for thunderstorms increases a little more Saturday night. Sunday, plan on scattered thunderstorms. They could interrupt your Father's Day plans, especially in the afternoon and evening. We'll hold on to the chance for rain early next week. Temperatures do fall back into the lower 80s. They flare up and they cool down. That's your 7-day.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. It's officially summer break for the Colts. Not that they needed to get away from the complex. They haven't been there since the lockdown. But they are expected to return late next month to begin training camp and eventually the season. Until then, it's the countdown to camp. Sports Director Dave First with the Sports Extra Spotlight.
It hasn't been your usual off-season. No in-person workouts with countless meetings on Zoom. Heck, no one's even sure if fans will be allowed when games start in the fall. The only constant for Frank Reich has been getting his team used to change.
I'd probably go through an exercise where I got guys trying to visualize what that looks like. You know, so you get rid of that awkwardness the first time you go in and you look around like, man, this is strange.
But here's what we do know. 30-year-old T.Y. Hilton returns for the final year of his current contract.
I want to be a coach for life.
He comes off missing 6 games last season with a calf injury, but having a new quarterback in Phillip Rivers might add a little spring to his step.
I think Phillip brings, a lot of experience, future Hall of Famer, knows the offense really well.
And the Colts think Phillip brings in as much leadership as this team has had in years. And get used to him wearing the hat with the words Nunc Sepi.
In its purest form, I guess it means now I begin, but it's a never-ending beginning. You're always beginning.
And nowhere is that more obvious than beginning with a new team in his 17th year. He'll work with some during the summer. Can't wait to work with all after that.
It's not the matter of going out there and throwing a comeback and throwing a curl and throwing a shallow. I mean, those things are good. We need that work. But it's more a little conversation that comes up, or maybe seeing a guy's body movement going, ooh, I felt how he did that at the top of a route.
Until then, it's all been virtual, which can make things difficult for center Ryan Kelly.
We're doing everything that we can to get live reps. If you visualize it enough, I think it'll come over time to get used to it.
Or even 8th-year veteran and 2-time Pro Bowl tight end Jack Doyle.
I love hearing him, talk during the meetings, and the way he talks ball is really cool. And I see it the same way he does, I guess. I don't know. So feel a little connection there already, and we'll just build off of that.
Until then, the summer break is on. Training camp at the complex begins in 5 weeks.
I think Colts Nation should be excited. This roster is a good roster, good players, good talent, and equally as important to Colts Nation, these are good men.
The countdown is on. Day 1st, RTV6 Sports.
1 hour, or visit onehourheatandair.com.
Right now on RTV6, it's our photo of the day. David Huntress from Greenwood says he snapped this photo at a National Wildlife Refuge here in Indiana. If you got great photos, send them to us at news@WRTV.com. And we may just show them off to everyone watching the news at 6. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back for the news at 7. We'll see you then.